Derby week has arrived. On Saturday, the Colts run for the Roses. Friday, the Phillies run for the Lilies. It's time for the Kentucky Oaks post-position draw presented by Ford. 14 starters expected. We are live from the Aristides Lounge at historic Churchill Downs, where momentarily the post positions will be drawn for the 147th edition of the Kentucky Oaks. And lots of intrigue this year, as there is every year for the Kentucky Oaks. And the Derby, of course, draw will be tomorrow. Joe Christopak joined by Scott Shapiro. And Scott, lots of great pedigrees, connections, form, some undefeated Phillies in this year's Kentucky Oaks. I've been excited about it for months, and we're about to have the draw.
It's gotten better and better as we've gotten closer. Travis, last year we had a prohibitive favorite in Gamine. Not the case this year. Several Phillies with significant chances.
And we're also the last Friday in April this year versus September. Back to normal almost, and good to certainly be on a normal schedule with the Derby the first Saturday in May. Third member of our team is Ed DeRosa, who's going to describe the draw process for us. Ed?
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, one constant in racing is the post position draw, and this is a traditional pill pool. 14 numbers will go in. They'll come out one at a time. They'll be assigned a filly, who will then be assigned a starting gate spot at the 8th pole for the 1 1/8 mile Longines Kentucky Oaks. 7 at a time as well. So we'll draw 7, take a pause, draw the other 7.
All right, thanks, Ed. And it certainly has been a great prep season leading up to the Longines Kentucky Oaks point system. Points have been earned in order to earn your way into the body of the field, which I mentioned will be 14. Let's take a look at the points leaderboard, Scott, and search results. Your leader with 150. She's never been beaten. Travel Column Clarier, they have met 3 times before, with Travel Column holding a 2-1 advantage.
Search results bringing that perfect resume in for trainer Chad Brown. Many years would be the favorite, maybe a prohibitive one, but not this year, showing the depth of this field. All 8 you see there with a big chance.
Big ticket item, Malathot for Todd Pletcher on the first page, as well as we flip over to number 14, Coach, one of 2 for Brad Cox, along with Travel Column. Brad has won 2 of the last 3 editions of the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, and Past the Champagne ran Too Good to Lose in the Ashland. Her, along with Ava's Grace, I expect to be part of the early proceedings.
Fairgrounds has always been a hotbed for Kentucky Oaks winners, Scott. This year, perhaps no exception. The Rachel Alexander has produced 9 of the last 24 Kentucky Oaks winners. We mentioned Clarier, we mentioned Travel Column. They took their show on the road from the Goldenrod here at Churchill to Louisiana, and the Rachel Alexander was their second meeting.
Another strong contingent in New Orleans. Here you see Travel Column taking the lead into the stretch, but Clarier got a ground-saving trip throughout, was able to take advantage of that, angling out late to get the best of her rival after losing to her in the Goldenrod. There you see Clarier going past Travel Column in the lane.
Yeah, and it was the other way around in the Goldenrod at Churchill Downs when both of these fillies were 2-year-olds, and they're every bit as good at age 3. Clarier gets the job done there for Stevens Musson, and it was an impressive performance by both fillies, who were well clear. And Clarier had an honest enough pace to kick at that day, which certainly helped her.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you're pace dependent like Clarier, you're going to need the right setup. She's a great filly. She can win when she doesn't have it, but she'll be at her best when she does.
Just a few weeks later, it was the rubber match between Travel Column and Clarier in the Fairgrounds Oaks. Another very good prep for the Kentucky Oaks. And this time, Scott, a little bit of a different scenario.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Joe. Travel Column off a softer early pace, allowing Florent Giroux to settle, relax his filly, and having plenty left in the lane here. As you can see her pulling away. There's Clarier on the outside, finishing well, but not enough to get by Travel Column in this spot, Joe.
Yeah, Travel Column going to be eased under the finish line with plenty left in the tank. Clarier on the left lead. They're all out to be second that particular day. But again, Scott, I think the 9 furlongs, longer stretch at Churchill Downs could be the equalizer for Clarier. Either way, these are 2 major contenders for the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, probably 2 of the top 4 or 5 contenders. I know you like Clarier a lot. I'm a little more concerned she won't get the pace to run at, but definitely brings strong resumes here to Louisville.
All right, we're going to take a look at the Ashland next from Keeneland. Malathot has never lost. She was very good as a 3-year-old, and she's probably better at age 3, Scott. She's done nothing wrong. She's bred to be a good one. she is a good one.
Yeah, Todd Pletcher's been gushing about her. You see past the Champagne there on the lead. This is her first start going 2 turns, first try against Stakes Company. She ran too good to lose, but Malathot just too much class for her in the end, getting the best of her despite the short stretch.
And you're going to see Will Secret rallying for third, another horse that should benefit from the longer stretch here at Churchill Downs. Will Secret for Dallas Stewart, who trained Lemons Forever, to a huge long shot win in the Kentucky Oaks several years ago.
Yeah, Will Secret won a couple of races in Arkansas against Stakes Company, but maybe a little bit a cut below. We'll see. She was further off the pace in the Ashland than I expect her to be on Friday.
We'll find out what the draw is, and we'll find out what Mike Battaglia's morning line is a little bit later on. You think Malathot's going to be the morning line and post-time favorite?
I think it's either Malathot or Travel Column, one of the two, but they'll be close together again. Not going to be a prohibitive favorite like last year with Gamine.
Todd Pletcher's won the Kentucky Oaks 3 times. He's got 4 horses in the Kentucky Derby this year. He's got Malathot, who could not be coming into the race any better past the Champagne. Ran huge that day. Will Secret ran a good third. We've looked at some of the top contenders, but there's more to still look at.
It's a loaded group. It continued to get better and better. The top fillies improved as their 3-year-old seasons went on. We had a lot of the favorites getting to the wire first, which built more drama. Plenty of options here as a wagerer going into the Derby.
That's a short stretch of Keeneland at that trip in the Ashland, and Malathot was still able to reel in a horse that made a huge move and was still running at the end. Really speaks to her credentials over that 9-furlong distance. I'd be shocked if she didn't run another huge race.
She appears to be doing great. That was her first start off the layoff, Joe. This will be her second one. Past the Champagne, though, a horse to look at. If you're looking to get a little more bang for your buck, I expect her to be prominently placed for trainer George Weaver.
All right, let's go to New York and the Gazelle, and the queen of the Big Apple has been search results for trainer Chad Brown. She is your Kentucky Oaks points leader, and she was much the best in the Gazelle, a race that was run faster than the Wood Memorial for the boys.
Yeah, we pick her up here. She was stalking just off the early pace setter. She was relatively unasked here for a while and took control in the lane. There you see Maracuja, a long shot that was well off the pace that day under Kendrick Carmouche, finishing well at a big price. She'll be an even bigger price in the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, search results. Has something left here. Finished up on the right lead eventually, but did switch back to the left there, and Maracuja closing while late could be underneath kind of horse at a price. And I mentioned it, Scott, they ran faster than the boys did in the Wood Memorial. I'm not sure how much you can take from that. The track was really slow at Aqueduct that day.
Yeah, not my kind of thing to use, but definitely for people that look at that kind of stuff worth noting. Maybe it was the Wood Memorial being a little slow. Maybe it was search results being that quick. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Where does she fit in? You mentioned Travel Column. You mentioned Malathot as likely being the post-time favorites. Search results has done nothing wrong either.
No, I expect her to be the 3rd or 4th choice, but again, that just shows you how strong this field is. Coming in for a top trainer like Chad Brown with a perfect record in New York, you know, probably 6, 7, 8 to 1-ish.
Kenny McPeak has done really well in the Kentucky Oaks, but he's been the bridesmaid on 3 different occasions, including last year with eventual Preakness winner Swiss Skydiver. This year, Scott, he's got a crazy, beautiful gray filly who likes to come from off the pace, and she was an impressive winner of the Gulfstream Park Oaks.
Yeah, going into the Gulfstream Park Oaks, Joe, I wasn't sure this was the strongest route, but coming out of it, I felt much better about him. There you see Milfoy taking the lead, coming from off the pace, but Crazy Beautiful coming from last to first, going past her right there in the lane and having a ton left under her. Crazy Beautiful, one of the major players as well, but you're going to get a good price again because of the depth of the field.
Again, Swiss Skydiver last year, finishing second in the Kentucky Oaks to She Dares the Devil for Kenny McPeak. And he's had a lot of live horses in the Kentucky Oaks. He's finished second on 3 different occasions. Pace-wise, obviously, she's going to be coming from a little bit out of it. On paper, I don't see a ton of speed in the Kentucky Oaks, but Crazy Beautiful certainly headed in the right direction. Competitive speed, also in the Oaks field, was 3rd that day.
Yeah, Crazy Beautiful came from last in the Gulfstream Park Oaks, but she's been closer to the pace in some of her other races. So if it's not, they're not going too fast early, she'll probably be more mid-pack, but she's versatile. She can come from way out of it or sit mid-pack.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out post position wise as we talk a little bit more about tactics once we get the 14 post positions. The fantasy at Oaklawn Park, Steve Asmussen with Clairiere. We mentioned her as a royally bred Stone Street filly. He's also got Pauline's Pearl, who's on the improve.
Yeah, Pauline's Pearl took a little longer to develop and figure things out than her stablemate Clairiere, but here you see her at odds on in the fantasy. Stalking just off of Ava's Grace now, taking control control in the lane. Avis Grace was loose on the lead in that one. She might be the pace setter in the Kentucky Oaks as well, where she'll be even in bigger price, but Pauline's Pearl moving in the right direction.
You'll see Avis Grace digging deep for second there. Coach also involved in this race and will be involved in the Kentucky Oaks, one of two for trainer Brad Cox, along with Travel Column. And, Pauline's Pearl might not have the credentials of Clarier. She's headed in the right direction. Steve has already won this race on 2 different occasions, so he knows how to get the job done. Brad Cox, 2 wins in the race. Todd Pletcher with 3 wins in the race. Certainly the who's who of trainers that have had success in the Kentucky Oaks in the past.
Yeah, you mentioned Steve Asmussen with the 2 winners on Tappable and Summerling. Looking again to make it number 3. Ricardo Santana Jr. will take the call on one of them, and Tyler Gaffalione on the other.
Some tremendous pedigrees, connections, form in this year's Kentucky Oaks. Let's send it over to Ed DeRosa for his thoughts. Ed, who has caught your eye in the work show the last week or so, and which horses do you like on form? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking this is an old-fashioned class test here, Joe. We have 2 undefeated winners that you and Scott talked about, search results out of the Aqueduct race and Malatot and the Ashland, and then 2 fillies who aren't undefeated, in part because they had to face each other down at that very classy Fairgrounds 3-year-old filly circuit in Brad Cox's filly and Clarier. So to me, that's the class test. And if you like anyone from any of the other preps, I think you're going to get a great price on them. So it makes it a great betting race as well. But I am on one of the undefeated fillies. I think the Ashland winner for Todd Pletcher is extremely talented. They all are here. I think she's the filly to beat. And I think no matter who you like, you're going to get the right price. I'm excited to get the right price on her.
All right, we'll check back in with that in just a moment or two. 14 horses in the Kentucky Oaks, Scott, 20 in the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, post position is important in both of those races. You've got that long run into the first turn. Obviously, from my perspective, I don't want to get buried down on the inside. If I got a closer, then that would work a lot better than if I have a horse with tactical speed. But even if you draw on the extreme outside here with a horse with tactical speed, you should be able to work a trip.
Yeah, if I have a tactical speed, I'd much prefer drawing towards the outside and then the inside. Kind of gives your jockey a chance to look to the left, figure out exactly what he or she is going to do, and then make a decision from there. If you're on the inside, you've got to make a quick decision. Generally, probably have to be aggressive from the gate. Like you said, you don't want to get buried.
All right, the post position draw about 5 minutes away. Let's bring Ed DeRosa back in now to talk a little bit about the expected pace scenario. Ed, and Avis Grace, we saw her on the lead in the fantasy. We would think that Robertino Diodoro and David Cohen would think that their best chance is to probably try to make the lead and maybe slow things down. Travel Column's got a little bit of natural early speed as well. Search results too. What do you think about the pace scenario and who it might benefit?
I definitely think Florent Giroux is going to be front-end minded, and we saw it really work to his advantage in the Oaks because he just put too much distance on Clarier and kind of gave her the slip. Obviously, a 1 1/8 is a different dynamic, but if he's not right, Florent, I'm speaking of if he's not right on the lead with Travel Column, I definitely expect him to want to make the first move turning for home.
Most of these boys, Scott, have got to go from a 1 1/8 to a 1 1/4. Of course, the Louisiana Derby at 1 3/16. The sternest test distance-wise leading up to the Kentucky Derby. These fillies got to go from a 1 1/16 to a 1 1/8. It can be a big difference.
It sure can. Not quite the same distance as the 10 furlong distance, but a difference between a 1 1/8, 1 1/16. Definitely a separator. We'll see some that can get the distance and some that maybe not.
Ed, we've talked about the Kentucky Derby and needing to be forwardly placed in order to be successful in recent years. The same can kind of be said about the recent Kentucky Oaks. You talk about Serengeti Empress, Monomoy Girl, even She Dares a Devil last year. Haven't seen really any deep closers recently, Ed.
No, and you would think with the full field on all the speed that comes into the Oaks that would be a bit of an anomaly. But when you have horses with the styles of Serengeti Empress and Monomoy Girl, I would say certainly the latter, a future Hall of Famer, that's going to tend to happen where they're able to give this field the slip. And Florent Giroux certainly knows a lot about that with Monomoy Girl. Based on my pick, though, you can tell that I'm expecting a mid-pack presence in the winner's circle.
And a horse that should be closing late is Crazy Beautiful. We talked about the Kenny McPeak trained fillies in the Kentucky Oaks, Scott, and she's going to need to come from a little bit out of it. She's going to want some pace to chase, but like we said earlier, she's heading in the right direction for Kenny McPeak, who also has King Fury in the Kentucky Derby, and he too seems to really be headed in the right direction.
Yeah, King Fury certainly has. He had Swiss Skydiver last year. I don't expect Crazy Beautiful to be quite the same price as Swiss Skydiver, but she'll take place plenty of support. Swiss Skydiver was the second choice, but you mentioned King Fury, a horse that was very impressive in his first start off the layoff in the Lexington. That was over the off-going, did get a pretty nice setup that day, but he's coming into the race well, and he's got solid pedigree.
I want to say a year ago, but it was 8 months ago when
Right.
Kenny was being asked questions about running Swiss Skydiver in the Kentucky Derby. She wound up running, obviously, and winning the Preakness after being the runner-up in the Kentucky Oaks, but Kenny certainly has a way with his fillies.
He sure does, and then this filly is coming into the race well. He's done a good job. Wasn't sure if she would run as well as she did in the Gulfstream Park Oaks, especially when she was way out of it. We're talking about her like she's a closer, but she is a horse that can show a little bit of tactical speed like she has in other races. It'll be interesting to see the trip that she gets come Friday.
And speaking of Kenny McPeak, Ed standing by with a special guest. Ed?
Thank you, Joy. I'm with Kenny McPeak, trainer of Crazy Beautiful. Kenny, we always try to avoid comparing horses to the likes of Swiss Skydiver, but the parallels in the form are hard to ignore. This one snapped a 4-race losing streak in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Is that her coming out party like it was for Swiss Skydiver?
Well, we had Swiss teed up for last May, but we had to go to Oaklawn instead of Churchill with the pandemic. This filly's had a really good season already. I mean, her first 2 races were big improvements off her 2-year-old season, and she needed to do that. She got a small break after the end of her 2-year-old season, which gave her enough time to, I think, sort out a couple of minor details. She had little hind end. She was clipping herself in some of her races and causing some nicks and cuts. We've seemed to have that sorted out. I think Jose Ortiz fits her really well. I think the way her running style is going to change a little bit from 2 to 3, and she needs to be held together a bit the first part of it and make a run, and who knows if the pace sets up for her or not.
Kenny, you had a couple in the Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies last year, and always funny how these things work out. It's this one in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Again, that kind of references the coming out party with the big win. Did you lead her over to that race expecting, okay, now we got her right?
Well, when she ran in the Devona Dale, I went into that race thinking, okay, we've got to find another level. She ran super that day. I really felt like we only had her about 80%. I do think that my pattern's pretty predictable. I think the first race of the season, they run well. They run better the second, and they run best the third. And this is this filly's 3rd start of the year. We're going to need her best race.
Absolutely. Full field here of 14. How does that, is that a plus for Crazy Beautiful, or would you rather see compact with her style, and where do you hope to draw?
No, I think it's a good thing. I think 14, you're going to get some pace either earlier or middle of the race, and something that helps to set it up for a closer. And she's going to she's been coming from off of it. How the early pace unfolds, I haven't really dug into I don't really worry about other people's horses too much. I just worry about mine. But we'll look at the PPs when they come out.
And you have King Fury on the first Saturday in May. You could be the first trainer in 69 years to pull off that double. One race at a time, or do you think about, man, I got 2 in here, can I sweep it?
Well, he had a really, really good, a solid 2-year-old season, but he wilted on me a little bit late in the year. And through a series of events, we gave him a break. He also had a couple of months off, and it's made him a bigger, stronger, and a better horse. He's not going to have any trouble with a 1.25 miles. He has to show that he's faster than he showed at 2. And I think that the trip and certainly the surface is not a non-issue. It's a matter of whether, is he good enough? And we're excited. I mean, I think he's a fresh horse in the scheme of things. Some other horses have been running pretty hard, and they've pushed on each other. And we're coming in with coming off an easy win, and let's see.
All right, Kenny, well, I know a big week ahead for you and a big few minutes with the Oaks Draw coming up next. Joe?
Ken McPeak with King Fury in the Kentucky Derby, but first things first, Crazy Beautiful in the Kentucky Oaks. It's time for the Kentucky Oaks post-position draw. Let's send it to the voice of Churchill Downs, Travis Stone.
2, 1, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. Travis Stone for Churchill Downs, and welcome to the post draw for Friday's 146th Kentucky Oaks. It's good to be back doing this in the springtime. 147th plus 1. Still stuck on last year. 14 fillies to go postward in the race on Friday. It's arguably one of the most competitive Oaks we've seen in quite some time. Very deep, a lot of good horses set to draw that here this morning. First, some intros, people on the stage to my left and your right. First off, Barb Borden, who is the chief steward here in Kentucky. She's been the chief steward at the Kentucky Derby since 2012. Next to her is Mike Anderson, the new president of Churchill Downs. He's the 14th president in the history of this home of the Derby. And next to Mike is Neil Curtis, who is corporate counsel. He's here in case things really get interesting as we work our way through the draw. At the table to my left, your right, is Ben Huffman and Dan Bork. Ben is the vice president of racing here at Churchill Downs. He puts together the races, and Dan Bork, alongside of him, is the stakes coordinator and assistant racing secretary. All the stakes races we have this week and throughout the year, Dan responsible for putting those together. As we said, 14 fillies going postward in the Oaks. So as we draw the pill sheet and the pill and the entry sheet, the silks will be hung to my left, your right, by Alex Frankie, the reigning Miss Kentucky. She'll hang the silks as we pull the horses for Friday's Oaks. And with that, let's do it.
Number 12.
12, search results, Irad Ortiz.
Number 12, search results, comes from the Eclipse Award-winning duo of Clarvitz Stables and Chad Brown. They will also start highly motivated in Saturday's Kentucky Derby. She's one of a few undefeated fillies in this year's Oaks. Chad Brown's only prior Oaks starter, Lewis Bay, ran third in 2016. In her preparation, won the Gazelle, just like search results, number 12.
Number 10.
10, Malathat, John Velasquez.
Number 10 is Malathat for John Velasquez and Todd Pletcher. It's a word that actually means good feelings or pleasure. She's an undefeated daughter of Dreaming of Julia, who was fourth in the Kentucky Oaks back in 2013. Todd Pletcher has called her, quote, a star leading into this year's race. Malathat, number 10.
Number 7.
7, Ava's Grace, David Cohen.
Number 7 is Ava's Grace with David Cohen. Trainer Robertina Diodoro is also projected to start Keep Me in Mind in Saturday's Kentucky Derby. Ava's Grace has never been worse than third in career and was only a length behind Pauline's Pearl in her first start, going 2 turns last time out. David Cohen, the rider, will also ride Keep Me in Mind in the Derby. That's Ava's Grace, number 7.
Number 2.
2, Maracuja, Kendrick Carmouche.
Number 2 is Maracuja. It's been quite a run for jockey Kendrick Carmouche. He won his first Grade 1 last fall in the Cigar Mile, and he'll now be riding Maracuja in Friday's Kentucky Oaks. And he also has a mount in the Derby on Saturday. Maracuja, number 2.
Number 9.
9, Coach, Luis Saez.
Number 9 is Coach Luis Saez, trained by Brad Cox. Luis Saez, of course, will ride the likely favorite in Saturday's Derby, Essential Quality. Coach is only one of 3 horses in this year's Oaks to have won a race here at Churchill Downs. Her owner, Rick Heber, has been involved in several racing partnerships throughout the year, but decided to buy some yearlings a few years ago, and Coach was one of them. His son, Luke, works for Brad Cox as well. Coach, number 9.
13.
13, Competitive Speed, Chris Landeros.
Number 13 is Competitive Speed, trained by Javier Gonzalez, who won his first Grade 1 in Puerto Rico 8 years ago and is seeking his first Grade 1 here in North America. Competitive Speed was bought for a mere $5,000 and has amassed more than $100,000 in earnings since. Churchill and Kentucky regular Chris Landeros with the ride, post 13, Competitive Speed.
Number 8.
8, Miraz, Flavian Pratt.
Number 8, Miraz for Michael McCarthy, who is a 2-time Graded Stakes winning trainer here at Churchill Downs, and he was involved in 3 Kentucky Oak winners when he worked with Todd Pletcher, Ashado, Rags to Riches, and Princess of Silmar. Around the barn, Miraz is, quote, all business and very classy. She won her maiden race by 11 lengths. That is Miraz, number 8. And that means we've drawn 7. We'll take a brief break and draw the final 7 after this.
First 7 have been drawn here in the Aristides Lounge for the 147th running of the Kentucky Oaks. And Scott, taking a look at the draw so far, I don't think anybody really compromised. I mean, you got search results in 12, you got Malathot in 10, you got Ava's Grace, one of the likely pace setters in 7, right smack in the middle.
Yeah, and that's what's most notable to me, Joe, is Ava's Grace, where she's drawn. She's likely to be sent. But you look at the other tactical speed horses, they've got to be pleased drawing outside of her. You've got Mraz, you've got search results, who I thought would want an outside stalking trip. So, like you said, not too much drama so far.
Yeah, even Maracuja, who likes to come from a little bit off the pace, not compromised necessarily by that inside post position number 2 draw. 7 down, 7 to go, including the rail and post position number 14. As you can see, 5 of the 7 drawn so far on the outside part of the field, Scott.
Yeah, and Malathot, who is going to be one of the favorites, I didn't think the draw was going to be that significant, but this should keep her in the clear. She's 4 for 4 so far. She's been perfect. I expect her to run another big race.
7 down, 7 to go. Let's send it back over to Ed DeRosa for his thoughts on what we've seen so far. Ed, what do you think?
I think Scott nailed it in terms of how this is pretty fair so far, but the rail is open, as you mentioned, Joe, and I would say if we have a front runner there, that could press the issue a little bit. If it's a horse like Will Secret, maybe not as big of a deal. They'll just drop back anyway. So always important to see who gets the rail, and the 14's still open as well.
We are still waiting for Clairiere. We are still waiting for a travel column amongst 7 others for the second half of the Kentucky Oaks draw. And again, it's the part of the week that I love, Scott. We get the first 7 done. We got the Kentucky Derby draw tomorrow. It's getting real.
Yeah, great time of year. We can really start to dive into the handicapping. I'm looking forward to seeing where a travel column draws, Joe.
All right, second 7 need to be drawn. We're going to throw it back to track announcer Travis Stone to take us through it, along with the boys from the racing office, as well we make some hay here in the Kentucky Oaks draw. Travis?
And welcome back as we get set to draw the final 7 fillies for Friday's 147th Kentucky Oaks. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Number 14.
14, Millefoy, Joel Rosario.
14 is millefeuille. Post 14 is French word for a type of dessert pastry. Junbont Farm homebred. They will also start Mandaloun in Saturday's Kentucky Derby. Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott was the all-time leading trainer at Churchill Downs for more than 31 years and is seeking his first Kentucky Oaks. Millefoy, 14.
Number 5.
5, Pass the Champagne, Javier Castellano.
Number 5 is Past the Champagne for trainer George Weaver, who's a Louisville native and a former assistant. Kentucky Oaks winning trainers Dwayne Lucas and Todd Pletcher. This is his first Kentucky Oaks starter. Past the Champagne is, and I quote, a slow walker around the barn, but a fast runner. That's Past the Champagne, number 5.
Number 1.
1, Pauline's Pearl, Ricardo Santana.
The inside post, number 1 to Pauline's Pearl with Ricardo Santana Jr. Since Ricardo and Steve Asmussen have teamed up since 2013, 57% of Ricardo's wins have come with Steve. Quite the powerful duo. They've won more than 769 races together over the past 8 years. Pauline's Pearl won the Fantasy at Oaklawn Park last time, the same race that Rachel Alexandra won, en route to her Oaks victory. That is Pauline's Pearl, number 1.
Number 4.
4 is Crazy Beautiful, Jose Ortiz.
Number 4, Crazy Beautiful with Jose Ortiz. 3-time Kentucky Oaks runner-up Ken McPeak seeking his first Kentucky Oaks victory. He was second last year with future Preakness winner, Swiss Skydiver. Jose Ortiz won the Kentucky Oaks with Serengeti Empress back in 2019. Crazy Beautiful, number 4.
11.
11, Will's Secret, John Court.
This is Dallas Stewart's 6th Kentucky Oaks starter with number 11, Will Secret, this year. He won the Kentucky Oaks back in 2006 with Lemons Forever, who paid a record $96. John Court, 60 years old, will attempt to become the oldest Kentucky Oaks winning jockey, eclipsing Kerwin Clark, who won it back in 2015. Will Secret, number 11.
Number 6.
6, Travel Column, Florent Giroux.
Number 6 is travel column for the two-time Kentucky Oaks winning duo of Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. They, of course, won it with Monomoy Girl and She Dares the Devil. Travel column's undefeated here at Churchill Downs. She broke her maiden on Oaks Day last year and then went on to win the Goldenrod. She's trying to become the third horse to win the Goldenrod and the Oaks. The other two, Rachel, Alexandra, and Silver Bullet Day. Travel column, number 6.
And the 3.
Clariere, Tyler Gaffleon.
What number is that?
Number 3 is Clariere.
Number 3 is Clariere, the all-time leading trainer at Churchill Downs. Steve Asmussen is also a two-time Oaks winning trainer. His first win came in 2005 with Summerlee and then again with Untappable in 2014. That is Clariere, number 3. Tyler Gaffleon won all 3 riding titles here last year at Churchill Downs. So with that, we have drawn all 14 post positions. We'll take another brief break, get the morning line odds from Mike Battaglia, share those, and we'll be set to go for the 147th Oaks. Be right back.
The field has been set, post positions have been drawn, and we have a field of 14. Milfoy drawing post position number 14. The rail goes to Pauline's Pearl. You got Malathot out of post position number 10. Search results out of 12. The last 2 drawn were the rivals, Clariere and Travel Column. Travel Column drawing 6, Clariere drawing 3. Scott, your thoughts as you take a look at this post position draw?
Well, it's interesting that Travel Column draws immediately inside Ava's Grace. I think I would have preferred to see her drawing immediately to the outside with that tactical speed. So we'll see if they end up getting caught up in a little battle or if Travel Column can relax inside of the likely speed horse.
Yeah, and the 3 post probably doesn't bother Clariere all that much. Long run into the first turn. She's going to be coming from a little bit off the pace. She's going to want to save some ground. And if anyone has learned their way around Churchill Downs in recent years, Scott, it's Tyler Gaffleon.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Joe. Clariere, Crazy Beautiful, Pauline's Pearl, Maracuja, all 4 of the inside rivals are horses that are going to be coming from off the pace. So those inside draws are probably favorable more than they're not.
No doubt, Crazy Beautiful likes to come from a little bit off the pace. She draws post position number 4 here. Will Secret, that post position number 11 is not going to bother her at all either.
No, I agree. I don't think there's too much drama in here. Like I said, the only things are horses that have tactical speed being drawn inside of Ava's Grace. You can put past the Champagne in that group, but she can probably sit a nice pocket trip.
I could tell from across the room, Ed DeRosa is already trying to process the potential pace scenario in his mind based on the horses in the race and the post positions. Ed, your thoughts on what we've seen with the post position draw?
I don't think many excuses from the 14. I would suppose Bill Mott and the Milfoy team don't love the far outside post. She's a filly who has maybe had a couple trips already in her 3-year-old season. She'll have to work out one from the outside. But all in all, Travel Column is, Scott noted, drawn to the inside of the other speed, maybe the most interesting dynamic.
Past performances definitely have been in our hands for several days now. Now we can put the post positions to those past performances and try to figure this race out, and it's going to be a good one. Let's find out what Mike Battaglia thinks about the morning line odds with Travis Stone. Travis?
2, 1.
And welcome back to the Oaks draw for the 147th Oaks on Friday. And let's go over Mike Battaglia's morning line odds. I'll provide them in alphabetical order for those of us using draw sheets to make it easier. And we'll start with Ava's Grace, who drew post number 7, 50-1 on the morning line odds. Number 3, Clariere, 5-1, 5-1 for Clariere. Number 9, Coach, 50-1, 50-1 on Coach. Competitive Speed, 50-1, drew post 13. Post 13, Competitive Speed, 50-1. Crazy Beautiful, number 4, 15-1. 15-1 on Crazy Beautiful, number 4. Malathot from post 10 is the morning line favorite for the Kentucky Oaks at 5-2. 5-2 on Malathot for the Oaks. Number 2, Maracuja, 20-1. Maracuja, 20-1 on the morning line odds. Number 14, Milfoy, 20-1. 20-1 on number 14, Milfoy in the Oaks. 8, Miraz, 30-1. Number 8, 30-1. Number 5, Past the Champagne, 15-1. 15-1 on number 5, Past the Champagne. Pauline's Pearl, who drew the rail, is 20-1. Pauline's Pearl, 20-1. Number 12, Search Results, is 3-1. Co-second choice, number 12, Search Results, 3-1. Co-second choice with number 6, Travel Column, who's also 3-1. Travel Column number 6 is 3-1. And 11, Will's Secret, is 30-1 for the Oaks. 30-1, and number 11, Will's Secret. So to recap, the morning line favorite for this year's Oaks is Malathot at 5-2. Co-second choice, Search Results, and Travel Column, they're both 3-1. Just a little bit of race day information for you, so you can get tuned in for the Oaks on Friday. Of course, Friday, April the 30th. It's the first of 13 races will go off at 10:30 in the morning. The Oaks will be race number 12 with an approximate post time of 5:51 in the evening. You can watch it in a variety of outlets, including the NBC Sports Network from 12 to 6, Wave 3 throughout the afternoon, and you can listen to it on the radio at Horse Racing Radio Network from 3 to 6 as well. Kentucky Oaks, and it's race 11 on Friday. Race 11 at 5:51 on Friday. So that's the field for the Oaks. 14 of them going postward. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Best of luck to the horse players throughout the week on Derby Week, and we'll see you here at Churchill Downs. Have a good day.
Mike Battaglia's morning line now matching up with the post positions for the 147th running of the Kentucky Oaks. Scott, no surprise that Malathot was the morning line favorite. A little lower than I thought Mike would go. I thought maybe 3-1, 5-2. Co 3-1 favorites, Search Results, and Travel Column second choices, I should say, behind Malathot. No huge surprise there. And then Clarier 5-1. This all makes sense to me.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that there was a 5-2 and 2 3-1s, and then so far back after Clarier, I thought the group was a little bit closer together than this. It'll be interesting to see what the horse players think.
No doubt, great betting race from top to bottom. Even some of those 15 and 20-1 shots, a rated chance to make an impact in this year's Kentucky Oaks, and a gentleman that knows a thing or two about winning the Kentucky Oaks, standing by with Ed DeRosa. Ed, take it away.
And he knows a thing or two about having a microphone in his hand over the last few weeks, and going to continue over the next few days, Brad. But right now we are talking about the fillies. You have two. We'll lead with Travel Column, winner last out. Drew in the middle of the pack. What do you think of her post position?
Yeah, I was good with it. It come down to looked like the 3 or the 6 there late, and I thought the 6 made more sense. But, she can perform from anywhere, I feel. She's that talented, and, hopefully she gets a good trip.
Have you thought about where you would like to see her take the lead? Is it right off the rip or later in the race?
I'm probably a little bit later in the race. I like the race she ran at the fairgrounds, setting off a couple, stalking, nice close stalking trip, what we would prefer.
And she's one of several in here, including Coach, who has a win at Churchill Downs. You've won the Oaks twice before. Is that experience on this track beneficial?
It never hurts. Same thing with our Derby horses. Most all of our horses that are competing at a high level, they have some type of experience here at Churchill, which, could a little bit of a home field advantage. So, it can never be a bad thing.
We're expecting to speak with you tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now. You have potential favorite, likely favorite, Essential Quality. Won't get too into the weeds there, but it is your first Kentucky Derby. You're used to the Oaks Day already. You're used to winning it. What's this week like for you now that you have Derby starters as well?
Even better. It's nice to get to the Kentucky Oaks, but the Kentucky's Derby's obviously the race that everyone's after, and very, very fortunate to be in this position with two very good colts, and looking forward to the draw tomorrow.
One of the fun things, storylines in this year's Oaks, Brad, is there is a budding rivalry, already an existing rivalry with Clarier and Travel Column. You've gotten the best of her 2-1. This is a mile and an eighth, though. Can you continue the streak at the longer distance?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that, with a good trip, this filly will be very effective at a mile and an eighth. That's a long stretch down there at the fairgrounds. If there's any track that simulates this Churchill track, I do believe it's the fairgrounds. And our first race off the layoff, we may just been a touch short, but she came back and performed extremely well last time, and like I said, hopefully with a similar trip we get a similar outcome.
She kind of got the jump on Clarier. Is that essential to her chance of success to kind of have that separation turning for home?
She appears to have a little more speed early than Clarier. Obviously, they're two very, very good fillies. So, I wouldn't trade spots. I really like our filly, and if we can be forwardly placed and get the jump, hopefully we can get the mile and an eighth, we'll be in good shape.
Kind of opposite ends of the odds board, Coach, 50-1, but she does have that win here. Seemed to maybe take a step forward in her last start as a 3-year-old. What'd she have to do to shock the world on Friday?
She would need to move forward again. She moved forward last time in the fantasy. That's why we're here on Friday. If we can get a similar move forward, which, it's a big ask, but if there is another move forward, she'll be in contention late. She tries. She's very hard trying filly. She gives you everything she has. So, like I said, we need another move forward, and if she gives it, she can be in the mix.
All right, that's Brad Cox. He's 2x2 to pull off the first Oaks Derby double as a trainer since Ben Jones in 1952. Brad, appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Appreciate it.
Joe?
Well, thanks, Ed. And the rivalry began here at Churchill Downs in the Goldenrod when Travel Column broke poorly. She was in a claustrophobic spot, looked like she had no chance to win. Clariere, who likes to come from further off the pace, was in front of her that day, but Travel Column somehow, some way got up for the victory. Tables turned in the Rachel Alexandra and then the Fairgrounds Oaks. Perfect scenario for Travel Column that day. Slower pace, first run. Travel Column getting the best of Clariere that particular day. And some new shooters and some really good shooters involved in the Kentucky Oaks to make things even more interesting.
No doubt about it. You mentioned the Goldenrod when Travel Column got out of the gate slow, but since then she's gotten the jump, as Ed mentioned, with Brad Cox over Clariere, who you see there finishing up well to finish second, but Travel Column sat off a slow early pace and had plenty left late, Joe.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how the pace develops, because you heard Kenny McPeak earlier say, we look at it on paper, and Ava's Grace probably is going to make the lead if things happen the way they think. And once the gates open, things could change. But in a 14-horse field, sometimes there's some unexpected speed in the race. In a bigger field, Scott, I think you got a better chance to get a more honest pace up front.
No doubt about it. There's also horses that sometimes don't get out of the gate that you might expect to, but I think Crazy Beautiful is one horse that drew incredibly well. It was interesting to hear Kenny McPeak talk about the change in running styles. I had pointed to the fact that she had been up closer to the pace in other races than she had in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. I like her chances at that price especially.
Yeah, so you look at the post position draw. We've been handicapping this race. Obviously got a strong handle on it. You ready to give us a pick?
I think so. I think I'm going to stick with Malatot as the winner in this. 5-2, a little shorter than I'd be rushing to the windows to bet at. Maybe we can get 3-1 or 7-2, but I promise you this, Joe, I'm going to have a bigger pick in the Derby, bigger price.
Yeah, no doubt. And I like Clariere. I'm going to stick with her. I love her. I've had a chance to visit with her at the barn. She is a sweet, special filly and just exudes class for Stevens Musson. We'll see what happens in the stretch run, because it should be a Kentucky Oaks for the ages. Back to Ed DeRosa with another guest. Ed?
Thank you, Joy. I'm with Jake Ballas, whose Black Type Racing will have passed the Champagne, will attempt to turn the tables on mine and Scott's top pick. And that's always the exciting thing about these big races, Jake. You get another swing at the big filly. She's the favorite. You're in with the shot, though. How does Pass the Champagne turn the tables?
She ran this last race. It was first time 2 turns, first time against winners. We got beat a neck to arguably the best filly in the country, who's the favorite for the Kentucky Oaks. And I think we'll improve second time 2 turns, and it's not going to surprise me if we're 1-2-3.
Turning for home at Keeneland with that stretch, did you think you were a winner?
I did. I thought for sure we opened up 4 lengths, and by the 16th pole, I kept looking at Malatot. I was just like, no. But like I said, we got run down by the best filly in the country, and I think we're going to improve, and we're going to make sure she runs on Friday.
Part of the fun of racing is the shared experience, and you're here with Black Type Racing. What is it like to have a group and be able to bring them to races like the Ashland and obviously the Kentucky Oaks?
That's what partnerships are for. You get a lot of family and friends involved, and we put together 5 different groups, and it's the first time we've done it with this partnership, and so it's a dream come true to be able to run in the Kentucky Oaks, and not only run, but to really feel like we have a big shot to win.
Was she named with this race in mind? Is that where it comes from, that you're going to have a big toast?
Well, we bought her privately after she won her first race, or after she ran second, sorry. So she was already named, but the plan when we did buy her was Break Our Maiden, Kentucky Oaks Prep, and Kentucky Oaks. So most of the time in horse racing plans, often they don't work out. So we're lucky and thrilled that this one so far has worked out.
I'm not sure if you had a chance to talk to the partners, et cetera, but what did you think of the draw, and what will you tell them, or have you told them about it?
Perfect spot. We were hoping 4, 5, 6, 7, and I couldn't ask for a better draw.
All right, well, we appreciate your time. Wish you a lot of luck this week. A lot of fun, too, with Black Type Racing. That's Jake Ballas, who's passed the champagne, is a starter in the Longines Kentucky Oaks. Joe?
And like Jake said, she's a starter in with a chance. She ran a monster race in the Ashland. She made a really strong move on the turn. Looked like she was going to run away. That's what makes Malathat even that much more intriguing for the Kentucky Oaks, because she ran her down. But as Jake mentioned, she has room for improvement. Second try around 2 turns. I think she's a very nice filly who's going to be a nice price.
Yeah, second try around 2 turns was key. She ran a winning race that day and just ran into a buzzsaw in Malathat. But past the Champagne, another horse like Crazy Beautiful, if you get the odds that are set on the morning line, you can run to the windows.
And speaking of the morning line, let's take a look at Mike Battaglia's odds right now, along with the post positions. You see travel column and search results. Co 3-1 second choices behind the favorite Malathat for Todd Pletcher, who looks for his 4th. Kentucky Oaks win Clariere at 5-1. Everybody else double-digit odds, Scott, but some intriguing horses who are double-digit odds. Most importantly, maybe for the bettors, at least in my estimation, would be past the Champagne. Will Secret 30-1, Milfoy at 20-1 with the extreme outside post.
Yeah, I was surprised by the odds on Crazy Beautiful past the Champagne and Milfoy for sure. Ava's Grace at 50-1, probably a bit of a reach to expect her to wire out this field, but if you're playing superfectas or trifectas, maybe she can sneak in underneath.
14 horses, the full field that is allowed in the starting gate for the 147th running of the Kentucky Oaks. Of course, Scott, one of my favorite bets is that Oaks Derby double. I'm going to be sending it in. Keen Clariere, probably using travel column and Malathat on some other tickets with some bigger prices in the Derby, but that's the one bet I really look forward to. It's nice to be alive going into Saturday after you hit the Oaks.
It sure is. Nice thing to sleep on. One of many, many horizontal wagers worth being excited about, though, over the next several days here at Churchill Downs. Oaks double, plenty of pick 5s, pick 4s, all of that stuff. Great time of the year.
All right, it's time to get our final thoughts on the Kentucky Oaks draw. Ed, we've got a 7 p.m. deadline for all of our picks. I got a pretty good feeling who I like in the Kentucky Oaks. Your final thoughts, and what about you as far as your selection goes?
I'm bullish on the Kentucky Oaks, and Scott Shapiro and I did land on the same horse, but I think I like her even more because he mentioned wanting some float from 5-2, and not that I wouldn't like that either, but I'm prepared to go to the windows at even 2-1. I think she's a budding superstar. I think this is her race, and Malathat is my pick from post 10. Coach is the one I'm going to roll in there. Scott and you mentioned Ava's Grace at 50-1. Coach is also 50-1. I don't think she's that far removed from the rest of these fillies, and certainly maybe can fill in the superfecta underneath. So it's the old 10-9 for me, gentlemen.
All right, Ed, enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to do this all over again tomorrow with a 20-horse Kentucky Derby. And, Scott, your final thoughts on the Oaks draw in the morning line.
Yeah, I thought travel column drawing inside of Ava's Grace was less than ideal. I gave her a big chance amongst many who do, but I think that's going to make Florent True be forced to be a little bit more aggressive. So drawing inside the speed was a little bit concerning to me.
Oaks draw is in the books. Post position draw for the 147th running of the most important race in the sport, the Kentucky Derby. Tomorrow, same time, same place, 10:45 a.m. Presented by Ford. You can watch it on KentuckyDerby.com, Twitter, Facebook, etc. And don't forget about the morning work show tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. The horses are on the grounds. The post positions have been drawn for the Kentucky Oaks. We will draw the post positions for the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Get your handicapping shoes on, everybody. We've got lots of work to do on the Kentucky Oaks and a tremendous Friday card here at Churchill Downs. Champions Day live racing tomorrow. Tuesday at Churchill Downs will be at 1 o'clock. Looking forward to the Derby draw tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.